all the bits and bobs to get it. Oh, that's actually nice and unused. Smooth out these layer line details here. So that's going to be our main thing. Is this. I'm actually going to see. I should have it right here. 1 second. Okay. Let's get the paint. And that's the chalk paint there. Let's still get some more white paint for the snowman. Nope. That's rock. Okay. Okay. Palettes, brushes, all the fun, joyous stuff. Okay. Now, let me get some gloves because a bit of this is going to need some extra cover. Once I remember where I put the box of gloves. I've apparently completely misplaced a box of gloves because they were behind that. Alrighty, here we go. Let me get my hair up so it doesn't add anything to the paint. Okay. Helps if I figure out how to put my gloves on properly. That can always be helpful. Sure, I'm seeing the chat. There we go. Now I can see the chat, and it's all right there. That's so much better than it used to be. Right. Okay. I hope these things are actually... Hopefully this will actually work. Because I did not realize until I went to get one of those bottles that chalk paint solidifies into a rock over time. Good to know that. Could have been better if I'd known it earlier. Let's see. I'm going to use some of these old brushes of my grandmother's. I really just need to do this real quick because that's mostly congealed. But if I use the cheap, I could. It's going to be tricky. That might work. Now, where are the shop towels? Because that's what we're going to want with this. Oh, look at that. The snowman can double as a paper towel holder now. Oh, lordy. Okay. First and foremost, I want to use this to try and at least do some filler stuff here. See if I can do it in a way that... Let me see if I can do this, actually. Dang, when it first got it, it actually just came out really smoothly. Kidoke. So here we go. I'm going to try and get it into all the groups here. There's another method that I've been playing around with it, but I don't... My hands are way too shaky right now for me to trust myself tipping over a bottle of acetone with my stuff right here. But try and have it ready for next time, because it's supposed to make where you can just kind of try and paint it on like a paintbrush. Like get it to the, I think I mentioned it before, where you get the texture to almost a toothpaste-like consistency. And then brush it on and it'll dry out very quickly. But you'll have everything filled out. This should work fine though. I'm not going to use the airbrush filler, not the airbrush filler, the spray paint automotive standing primer stuff that I have used for some of these other projects, just because I want to get the detail. I don't want to risk a big canister causing the details to get messed up, because there's a lot of fine detail on this and it's really cool, but I'm going to try and get this as smooth as possible so when we start to paint it, it does not, it adheres better, and then you're not also having to cope with all the layer lines. My hands are really acting up today. Okay. Yep. Start here. I think I'll just focus on getting as much of the body portion and some of the legs as I can, because there is a lot of layer lines in the legs, even though I was doing this at fine, or the 0.12 fine or extra fine setting. Okay, let's just start there. You can kind of see, hopefully this will fill in the layer lines, and then I'm just going to come, I'm going to let it dry. Good grief. Sorry, I get way too nervous sometimes, and then I can't even speak properly. Okay, I am going to let it dry, and then I will come back and sand it. Sand the excess off, and then we will start to work on the paint. And then audio should improve a little bit, because I don't have anything to work on directly once I finish that piece, because it's the news of the snowman. Okay, this is going to be, the tail is going to be very tricky, but I think I'll use, see, this is where doing it with the brush would have been a lot more effective, because that's not stiff enough. That's not what I need at all. Excuse me. Yeah, because this is going to be tricky to get the detail out of. But if you had the brush one, you could have painted it on pretty much. Okay. Frustrates the heck out of me. Okay, you're going to keep pushing on. Make it work. Okay. It's there. And hopefully anybody who actually ends up watching this is enjoying themselves and having a great beginning of winter and whatnot. Weather was insane this last few days. Had apparently 60-mile-an-hour winds while I was at work. All I knew was that it cut the power off for several hours. And there are a number of really big trees, none of which are thankfully in my yard or anywhere near my house, that are no longer standing up. And so that's actually kind of scary. But again, thankfully not something I had here. Okay. Okay, the detail on the legs is going to be the trickiest part. But for right now, we're going to start with the rest of the body. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work on here too. When I go in tomorrow to do my shopping, I'm going to see about getting some felt for the bottom of this. I haven't really done much sanding on here because I just wasn't sure how to go about doing it. So this will, if anything else, help get the rest, make it more give it something that the paint, I guess, can hold onto better, because when I paint directly onto PLA, it takes more coat than if it's not like sanded or prepped in some way. Coke. Go. Hopefully we'll actually get something finished today instead of mostly started. Okay. Come on. Okay. There, that's better. And rip the finger open. Okay, that's great. Okay. Come on. I think next time I'll also try and figure out how to play Christmas music on back safely on the Twitch stream or something. My ADHD autism brain does not like silence this much. Neck and head. Okay, let that cool in the printer, and then we'll have okay. And this there. I'm gonna try and just see how it looks when I paint just the hair straight without any adhesive. I mean, any filler, because it's gonna be such a pain to try and sand that. This is kind of rough. Because my hands don't want to cooperate enough as they are. Dang it. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's get this next piece out. All right. That should be the right size. Yep. Okay, okay. Good, good, good. Gonna just take a little time to... I moved all my strips over here. 1 second. One more second. Oh, there they are. Okay. Right now, you're just going to go there. So for the moment, I want to try and not drop those. That would be handy. I don't trust my hands enough to do that. Sorry to be complaining so much about my hands. It really, it's kind of scary. Something that you are dependent on as a person, as a creative, as all that, and they don't always want to work. That's scary. Okay, we're going to try and smooth this out, especially this seam. Try and finish that off as best I can. You may have seen I had one that I was working on. It's probably still here somewhere, but I misplaced all the others. Okay, right now we're just going over it with the 180. I just had a pad of that. Where is it? There. Yeah, I want to try and smooth it. Okay, I'm going to try and just go over it with this. Just the seam. Then I'll probably also try and angle it where the seam is pointed downwards so you don't see it from the top. I still want to try and smooth it out where it's not very visible at all. So these tools come in very handy. I'm still not sure about these stems, though. They kind of break apart very easily. And I have a long history of putting a lot of pressure on when I write. That's why I don't like any pencil lead less than 0.7 or 0.9 that tends to break too quickly. Okay. Okay. That's better. And I think I just need to actually, trim this a bit. See if I can do that. They're having some adhesion issues. Wow. I have never found it that difficult to pronounce words, that being that nervous. Jeez. Probably that nervous and that too much energy drink. Really got to start sleeping better. Okay. Put the seam here. And just in case anybody does watch this and is a gamer of any kind, have you seen the announcement for Steam taking Microsoft out back behind the bench and putting it mostly out of its misery? Because all that Steam equipment launched, and I'm just going there like, new reason to become successful, ability to afford Steam collection, and dropping stuff. Now that just actually looks really amazing. There's a lot of games that I would just, I would probably could possibly retire my PlayStation almost with that. Like, why on earth would you get an Xbox or Sony per se when you could just have something more affordable? I mean, not affordable, but something that doesn't require you to pay a stupid subscription just to be able to play online. Okay. Next up. Oh, nope, got that one. We go again with the seam. Just kind of get it to a point where it starts to blend in, but also like you can kind of see. Let me see if I can get close enough. But even with my what's left of my fingernails, it kind of like you can hear me going over it. Yeah. And okay. Okay, that's a bit better. Now we're going to do it on here. See, that's when you want just the strip. Okay. Grab that one. Stand still again. Thankfully, only some of these are really the only parts that need the seam to be sanded out. Okay, there. Doop-de-doo. Okay. There. And this one needs a bit of the deburring tool. May need to get around to replacing the blades soon. Okay, hopefully that'll work. It's kind of ironic. I am actually left-handed, but I do so much stuff with my right hand for some reason. Okay. It actually looks to me like we got all those bits done, so I'm actually going to go back to this now. Let's see. Want a higher grit number here. What do we got? That's 240. Okay, yeah, they should work. So I want to try and get this cleaned up. Thought I had the brush up here. 1 second. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, and actually, so I can cap this back before it dries up. The paintbrush version would have been a lot easier with that. Okay, go with that bit. Turn this a bit more. Okay. Go. Okay, hopefully that'll work. And whoa. One more of these, and that should actually give me all I need for that. Okay. Excuse me. All right. Now we're going to get back to this bit. I'm going to try and put very little pressure on here so I don't damage any of the details. Now I'm going to use this to get this clump up. Amen. I don't want to have those blobs there to mess up the detail. Okay. I'm going to need a bar. Nope, that's not going to work with the tablet there. Drafts. Okay, now I think these tips are going to come in handy. Okay. Right. And originally I was going to try this in wood filament, but I was informed I would have needed to have done, I needed like 0.6 nozzle and all that stuff, and it's not in the budget right now. I mean, it's not that expensive, it's just the time and everything, and I've got too many auditions to also work on. Okay. Let's see here. Where's the other spray bottle? That's my cleaner. I don't have my water. Wait. Nope. Okay, then. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's get this party started. Yeah, because it's starting to congeal. Okay. My mom is a fan of paint horses, so that's what we're going to try and go with here. So I'm going to try and use up this remaining paint. And then from there, probably put a few coats of this just to make sure I use it all up. But from there, we're going to go. Actually, let me do one other thing first. Because in this way, I'm not repainting over everything over and over again. Okay. Where did I put them? I think I put them up. Oh, here they are. Okay. So what these came with are actually these bits here. Where's the other half of the body? There. Okay. Let me finish this bit. So we're actually going to assemble it first, and then we'll go back through and paint it. And that way I can hopefully fill the seams in nicely. Okay. Come on. Okay. Okay, this is going to be an interesting bit because, like, the supports are iffy and messed up this a little bit. Well, I think this will work. Okay. So, let's see here. Hopefully I didn't make these too strong. Okay, good. There we go. One in. Alrighty. It's a lot harder with my hands the way they are right now. Come on. Yeah. It's not going to work as well as a pair of needle nose would. All right. Got it. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. And one thing I want to see if I can get in. Okay. That's actually holding better than I thought it would, so I may not have to do much with super glue. Let's see. Just going to do it on the outer. Well, no, I may not need to do it at all, actually. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, a little bit of an unevenness here, but we'll get that in a second. Okay. And let me actually go ahead and finish this stuff up real quick. Let me put that back in the water so it doesn't dry on me. Okay. Whoop. Okay. Let's see how we're doing. Okay. I'm going to need this back to just kind of go around the areas where there's the seam. Okay. Okay, that's better. Okay, there we go. Now let's try and... Okay, let that dry for a bit. Nope. Oh, nice. It's actually pretty level. Wasn't sure if it was going to do that or not. Okay, 1 second. Where's my 240? Nope, that's the 180 still. Okay. Da-da. Okay. Right. See, that's some amazing detail on here. Okay. Okay. I think that's actually going to be good enough to get started. Let's get this assembled. Oop, I need to get these spots cleared. Okay. Okay. Whew, there we go. Nice and neat. Okay. Okay, he's going to try and put a little bit more on here. I could have actually tried to do a little bit of soldering and use the solder iron. Well, not so much soldering, but using the soldering iron tip to melt those together. Okay. Yep. Okay. Okay. All right, let's see how this goes now. Got a little too much moisture on the brush still. And I may have to go back over some parts of this with some more filler. It looks like it didn't fill in as well as I'd hoped. Still not too bad. We're going to start here, and then we're going to kind of work our way into the other colors. May have to be next week, though. Because right now, it's almost 6. Yeah, it's starting to really congeal, so I'll have to finish this up real quick. Okay. Yeah, get that second coat on there while I still can. Ah. I'm probably going to have to actually put something back on there once this dries. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Okay. At least it's starting to kind of try and fill it in. You almost can't see the layer lines on that bit. So may just need to put a lot more coats onto here. Layer lines are starting to blur underneath this on the second or third coat. So that's good. Okay, I may actually just end up going back and melting it down a bit then repainting over it some. Okay. Probably have to be next week though. I want to try and get. Okay, 12 more minutes on the stream. Okay. Not sure what to do with the hair just yet, so I'm going to leave it be for now. Not looking too bad. Let's see if I get enough in here. It may start to. We'll see what it looks like once it dries. Okay, that's set it here-ish. Okay. Actually, let's just do this. Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. Let's get some. That is more than enough black. Okay. I think I can go with a smaller brush than that. Okay. So these are obviously pretty straightforward. To be honest, I really need to find my needle nose because I really don't need much with these because the bottom part of it actually goes straight in, so it won't be visible. So if the bottom portion isn't fully painted, that's not as big of an issue. Okay. Let me actually go ahead and switch over to this. Okay, coming along to a nice green. Got some air bubbles in that one. Gonna switch over. I didn't get enough of that black out of that one. That'll work. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to need a few more coats to get this green down right where we want it. But that's a good start for today, at least. Then I'm going to try out something with the one of the more interesting ones that I had. It's this one. If I can use this. Where's the head? There we go. Help with these holes. I'm trying just to get the black bits to go away without having to overly spray paint this thing, which I may still end up having to do because I'm not sure this is going to work. It's not really doing it to the extent that I want. Probably gonna have to, yeah, I'm just gonna have to keep going back and spray painting it. Oh well, worth a shot. Okay, set those over there to spray paint those. And let's go ahead and try and finish this up. Okay, better, better. No. Dang it. Okay, there we go. Needle nose would still work better if we're trying to angle these back down. And then one more. There we go. Okay. So that's probably where I'm going to start to cut it down today. May try and just do a bit more of this. Tying. Yeah, I'm just going to probably try and do a little bit more of this tonight or at some point. And then hopefully we'll have it a bit further along for the next stream. Got a couple more weeks left to be able to finish this up. And then hopefully I'll have the airbrush components cleaned up in time for next week. And we can get my nephew's thing underway. Okay. All right. I think that's where I'm going to cut it here. Thanks for anybody who did manage to come around to watch. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself at least a little bit. And maybe I'll see you next week. Coke. Go. Alrighty. There we are. Y'all have a good one.